What's up, players? Welcome to Sims Tennis. I've got another racket review for you. Today we will be reviewing the Yonex Percept 97. I got 3 of these rackets in order to see what the range of specs are that we can expect, as well as get a peek into the quality control. I'll put those measurements up on screen before we get into the playtest, but first let's talk about the Percept line of rackets. So this line of rackets was formerly known as the VCore Pro line. Yonex has rebranded this line into the Percept in order to alleviate some of the confusion of having the VCore and VCore Pro line. I think it makes sense, especially considering that Yonex only has 3 main lines of rackets, that each racket line would have its own distinguished name. As far as the changes from the last model to this one, they are subtle, but definitely noticeable. Instead of the VDM or vibration dampening mesh that they used in the previous version, Yonex is now using a technology called servo filter. This includes a thin, transparent layer of film that is placed between the layers of graphite in order to filter out some of the unwanted vibrations and improve feedback. They are also using what they call stiff racket face design, which includes more layers of graphite in the face of the racket in order to increase stability. And they are using this in combination with the FlexCon and 2G NAMD Flex Force systems in the throat of the racket in order to keep it feeling plush. The specs of this racket remain basically the same. You're still getting that 16x19 string pattern, a 310 gram unstrung weight, a 310 millimeter balance, and a constant 21 millimeter beam. Here are the specs of the 3 rackets that I got. You can see that the unstrung swing weights range from 276 to 280. The balances are grouped right around 308 millimeters, and the weights are grouped right between 309 and 310 grams. Since the swing weights are a little on the light side, I chose the highest of 280 as my demo. I strung it up with 125 gauge Wilson revolve spin, and that brought the swing weight up to 311. Okay, so now for the playtest. I've hit with the last 2 versions of this frame, and I think Yonex has made some incremental improvements and a better all-around racket with this version. Ground strokes with this racket were solid. You get a nice medium launch angle and good amount of control. You can hit with a decent amount of spin, but you can also flatten the ball out as well. I'd say that in stock form, it was a little difficult to get consistent depth of shot, and that it lacked a little bit of stability when the pace of the rallies was high, but it's nothing that a little lead tape couldn't fix. I did really appreciate the slightly crisper feel of this new version, and I think the feedback that I was getting when striking the ball was better as well. I also enjoyed hitting returns with this racket. The racket felt maneuverable and controlled enough to inspire confidence to swing out to your target. The stability was pretty good for its stock weight, but I think that a little lead tape would go a long way in this department as well. On volleys, the racket was great. It's maneuverable and it has that classic point and shoot feel that inspires confidence. You get everything you'd expect from a control-oriented frame at net with this racket. Serves with this racket were my favorite shot. The controlled nature of this frame really allows you to pick your spots, and the 16x19 string pattern still provides you with some good spin when it's needed. Kick serves were getting a good amount of jump up off the court, but slice serves were my favorite, as I think they play right into this racket's strengths. All right, so who's this racket for? Overall, this is a good all-around racket for advanced all-court players who value control. The racket allows for some creativity because of its versatile nature. You can go flat, you can go heavy, but ultimately this will suit a shot somewhere in between, and players who like to produce that shot will feel right at home with this stick. All right, so that's all for the review. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button. Also, please consider subscribing, and don't forget to embrace the grind.